Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scholars in the Spotlight, the show where you get to hear first-hand insights, tips, and tricks from students that won this year's WWDC Scholarship. Joining us today, we have a computer science student, tech YouTuber, and developer of Fix My MacBook, winner of the 2020 Swift Turing Challenge. Please welcome Parikshith Vallish. Welcome, Parikshith, and thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
So, your submission is called Fix My MacBook.
Yep.
Why don't you give us an introduction to the project and how it works?
Okay, so Fix My MacBook is a combination of a UI kit interface and a sprite kit game. So basically, the way my project starts off is like a small introduction as to what the project is about. You hit the start button, and then you have this main screen where you have 3 tasks to do, and you have to complete them in order. You can't, go about them in a random order because, in order to do the later on tasks, you'd have to fix the MacBook first. So the first task is to fix the MacBook, and I've done it in a puzzle manner. So there are these puzzles. I'm not sure what exactly you call them, but there are these puzzles that have like one block square space empty, and you sort of shuffle the squares around. You probably know the name of that,
Yeah, I don't know the name of that.
but you've seen them before, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the same way, except there's no blank square this time, and you're supposed to just click on 2 parts of jumbled pieces and get them together. So you'll see like an original how the MacBook looks on the inside. And so I just chopped up images of a MacBook on the inside, and yeah, you're just supposed to put those together. Once you put those together, it makes a sound, and you get taken back to the home screen. And now your job would be to boot the MacBook. So there's going to be boot loops and the spinning beach ball of death falling from the top of the screen.
Right.
And you just tap on the left and right side of the screen, and you can move the MacBook around. And your job would be to avoid the boot loop icon and the spinning beach ball of death. And you're supposed to like hit or collide only with pieces of boot code, like the verbose boot. Once you collect enough of code, your MacBook will successfully turn on. And to authenticate, at the end, there is a small quiz. So the quiz has a lot of well-researched facts from past DubDub events. So I spent quite a bit of time gathering good information or stuff that maybe even the people who judge the project at Apple would have to scratch their head a bit and think about. So that's like a multiple choice question. And once you get that, well, boom, you're done and you hit the finish page and it's like an about me and why I made the project. And it's like, and at the end, there's like a small thank you to everyone that is there at Apple.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I really like the different mini games. Like it was very entertaining.
Yeah, there was a lot of thinking to go behind it. I've always wanted to submit, but this is the first year that I've actually gotten around to doing it.
Oh yeah.
I've had an idea of what I'd like to be doing, which has always been like, I wanted it to be as creative as possible, but not something complex.
Right. Right. That's why. Yeah, like you went with UIKit and SpriteKit, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm a beginner to Swift. I'm good at other programming language. I mean, here in India, they teach us, or at least at college level, they teach us C, C++, and Java, and then web programming languages like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I've always been trying to program in Swift, and so this is not my first time, but this is definitely my first genuine effort into making something that was 100% complete.
Yeah, like here they also teach like C and C++,
Uh-huh.
and it's very cool like to see the basics of programming.
Yeah, and then when you look at Swift and how much more evolved it is than the older programming languages, it's fun to program with Swift.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the projects like I had to do this year was to make a dictionary, like
Uh-huh.
the data type
Uh-huh.
dictionary in C++, and it's like it's not included in the language.
Yeah, so it's everything is manually done.
Yeah, and it was like so much work, and then you go to Swift and you just like dictionary like that, and yep, it's all working, and
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, so that's really cool that this was your first project with UIKit and Swift in general. What was your inspiration in general for the project? Did you broke your MacBook before this?
No, I've not broken my MacBook before. I've had my Mac Mini broken before, but that really wasn't the inspiration towards it. I mean, well, the inspiration towards creating or submitting in the first place would be I've been watching Apple events since 2012. and I've been like a big fan of Apple in general since 2010. And in 2013, I discovered that there's a developer conference, and it's around that time that I was starting to get into the nitty gritty of computer science, which would be programming and how things work, and like slowly bringing up the curiosity in terms of computer science in general. And I saw WWDC 2013 and the reveal of iOS 7, and that was a very big inspiration to me. And seeing that consecutive years also had people who were brought into the event via the scholarship, that was a big inspiration. I always wanted to go to the physical event, be lucky and meet some of the Apple engineers and sort of hang out and have that week long thing. And so I've always had that in my head. And yeah, that was the main thing that I applied for. But unfortunately, with the ongoing pandemic, that didn't happen. So hopefully there's another plan. I did read an article where Esther Hare said that she would consider bringing people who won this year next year as well. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm hoping there's something more. And as per the inspiration as to the idea, so I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to make. I had to look at quite a few previous projects in order to figure out what Apple was looking at and what other people were doing. And I found out that a stage-wise approach and sort of breaking the app into multiple Swift files instead of making one big one would be a better approach. And I had an idea of solving something in order to get to the main goal. And so I went with the Fix My MacBook approach. I was seeing some people have puzzles and all that, and I thought, why not integrate the sort of technical, creative aspect into the puzzle and make it a Fix My MacBook thing?
Oh yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, and like going to see previous projects for inspiration and to have an idea of what Apple is looking.
Yeah, because it's amazing to see what people have created. And I mean, we all have different levels of expertise, but some people have created some truly awesome stuff.
Yeah, for sure. They are like on all levels. Like you see all kind of projects, and we are very lucky that there is a database of these projects because
Yeah,
they're published by the students. Like Apple does not give any list or anything.
yeah,
But yeah, seeing the community open source the projects and all of that is very cool.
yeah.
Okay, so you said that you were like watching WWDC since 2013,
Yep.
but how did you hear about the scholarship? Like when did you first like hear this submission process and all of that?
I think it was around 2015. So I think it's now called the developer app, but the prior called WWDC app. I was noticing it like 2015 and 2016. The day before the event started, or on the day that the event started, you would see these because I think they host like an event for scholarship winners the day, or like they have a meetup just the day before the actual event begins. Am I right?
Yeah, I think that's
And I would see that they would upload these pictures of students who submitted projects and were chosen to come out to California and like had the chance of meeting Tim Cook. And also when Apple started to invite press out to WWDC events as well, people would post, "Oh, I got this photo with so and so personality." And yeah, so that's when I started to see that there was a way to get to WWDC, and that was through the scholarships that Apple was offering.
yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, and I think that like Apple doesn't do a lot of promotion around the scholarship. Like
Yeah,
these events like during WWDC and they post some images to social media.
yeah.
There's not something big like announcing the scholarship.
Yeah, so when I won this year, I had many people who were like, "Wait, what is this?" And yeah, I can fully understand that people don't know about it, but yeah, it was kind of, I don't know, I don't know how to put it. It was weird seeing that people didn't know about an Apple scholarship program.
Yeah, because when you get into it and you start researching and you know what it is, like you start seeing it everywhere.
Yeah, and you feel like, "Wait, how didn't I know about this before?"
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's very weird.
But this year, I think they did quite a good job publicizing it. So not only did they have many scholars have an interview with local news channels to have their interviews up on papers or even on the web, but they also posted quite a bit of like recap content on their YouTube channel. So people who aren't normally just subscribed to the Apple channel to see product videos would see that there's now an event based on like developing things.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's cool. They are opening like the press conference and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did like the day the results were announced,
Uh-huh.
5 or 6 hours before they officially announced the results. Local media started to pop out everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. That was happening this year. The official announcement wasn't out, but people were like, "Wait, the news says I won."
Yeah, that's true. Like
That was really weird.
we were all looking at Twitter, and it's like, oh, here we found one in Egypt, and like we found one in France, and I like,
Yeah, and then the random posts from Apple themselves. They had one on the App Store Stories page, and then they had one in their newsroom.
yeah.
So yeah, we were all sitting on Discord and sort of seeing these random news articles pop up and random sources of information saying that they won and that they didn't win, and we were all thinking, wait, where are people getting this?
Yeah, because like most of the students like didn't know, like they didn't know that they have won, but they have
Yeah,
the interview and all of the details in these pages. But yeah, I think that maybe next year they will have more press coverage of the scholarship and all of that. Like I think it's growing every year.
yeah.
So why don't we talk now like some tips that you may have for future students?
So I'm a beginner and this is my first time submitting. And so, my best advice would be to just do it. I've probably sat staring at the submission screen for the past 2 years, sort of. So last year I wasn't aware of the the due date or the submission date, but I knew it was happening and I knew I wanted to submit, and I was pretty careless about it. And yeah, I missed the submission date, and that wasn't that was not a pleasant surprise. And so this year I made sure that, I was on time. But yeah, my main tip would be to just do it. Like it sounds sort of like, wow, easy for him to say, but like the best thing is, even if you don't make it, you learn a lot. And I learned a whole bunch of stuff in the last, like in the 6 days that I made the 5, 6 days that I made it. So I would say the tip would be to look at basics and have a look at, what other people have made, and maybe if they are hosting their submissions on GitHub, download them and sort of see what makes them tick. And yeah, you'll get the hang of it. You just have to do some practice.
Yeah, for sure. I think like we've talked with other students before in the podcast that like what Apple is looking for is people that are passionate about code and people who
Yeah,
like have these creative ideas, but they are not looking for a complex technical project. They're looking for the creativity, and
yeah, exactly.
so yeah, don't be afraid to send your submission. Like nothing wrong is going to happen. If you don't win, you're gonna.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to try it all in the first place.
Yeah, that's great advice. So this being an online event, like we don't have a lot to talk about this particular point.
Yeah,
We're talking about traveling to WWDC being like the most desired thing.
yeah, that would have been amazing had that happened.
Yeah, I mean, we have to cross our fingers for next year.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, if that happened this year, I'd have a lot more to tell you.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I want to talk what was your experience as a scholar during WWDC. You have been watching WWDC for like 6 or 7 years. Was it any different, like being a scholar and participating in the community in that way?
I guess there there isn't much difference. There isn't much difference. It's only that when, at least because this time it was online, watching the keynote had a whole different vibe to it. It felt like I was finally part of the experience. I'm not sure how we would have felt if we had physically attended, but yeah, it was a good feeling. For the most part, it felt like a normal, like every WWDC that I've seen streaming from my home, but this one felt a little special.
Yeah, that's great. That's really cool.
Yeah, and another thing that was nice that Apple offered us this year was one-on-one sessions being free of charge.
Oh yeah, like the labs for with Apple engineers.
Yeah, the labs. And so I took a watchOS one-on-one to see what it would be like to develop a watchOS app. And yeah, the engineer was very kind. And in the 15 minutes that we had a nice discussion about creating a watchOS app. And yeah, it was pretty good. That was nice.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, one thing about WWDC here in India is it's mainly a stay awake all night event because of Indian Standard Time.
Oh yeah, imagine.
Yeah, so my session was at 2:30 in the middle of, I guess what, I would say that's the middle of the night, 2:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then the main event was 10:30 to 12, and then you can't sleep because of all the hype and all the awesome stuff that they announced, and so you don't sleep till like whenever your adrenaline or whenever you feel the excitement sort of go down a bit.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes there are things that Apple doesn't announce on stage, but people like all these Apple blogs sort of have these secondary announcements, or on these catch-all slides that they have at the end of every announcement, something that you've missed,
Yeah.
and those slowly start to pop up, and you start to look at them and it's endless. And then people have their discussions and their opinions.
Yeah. There is a lot of things going on after the keynote and
Yeah, exactly.
and then you have the betas and you install the betas and
Yeah. Are you running the iOS 14 beta? I've seen your Twitter. I think you are, right?
yeah, I am on the iOS 14 and on macOS Big Sur.
Oh, I came down from macOS Big Sur. I was on the beta till like yesterday.
Oh yeah, why?
I had taken the time machine back up. I came down from Big Sur because I was having a few issues with minor lag in Final Cut Pro, but it was happening frequent enough for me to warrant going back. And a few things like so I bought a new SSD, which I have a review coming soon for, and stuff like testing the speed of drives and like some technical things weren't working in Big Sur, and so I figured I'd wait for beta.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you have like that kind of technical workflow, must be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
actually have Big Sur on a separate partition.
Oh, okay.
So I am dual booting between Catalina and Maxur and Big Sur, sorry.
I remember reading that I remember reading Apple documentation saying that if you install Big Sur on a separate partition, Catalina doesn't get updates on the other partition. Is that an issue?
Yeah, I think that's the case. Like every
Okay.
time I boot into Catalina, it asks me to update to Big Sur on this partition as well.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm daily driving Big Sur, but for this kind of thing like recording or other technical stuff, like maybe for university and all of that, I use Catalina because it's safer.
Yeah, much more reliable as well.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, that's great. What other projects do you have in mind? Like you have this YouTube channel. What can you tell us about that?
Well, my YouTube channel is it's sort of a niche channel. I talk about technology and I also talk about film, and I have the idea of talking about productivity as well. At the moment, it's a technology and film channel. I mainly review tech stuff and talk about tech. And I also do, which I'd like to do more of now on, is video essays on my favorite films. It's so awesome to take apart a film at its core values, see what makes it so good, and sort of share what people might have not known about. Like small things in movies where maybe it's the set design or maybe it's just the way the characters are. Those things, they portray a lot in terms of the character or aesthetic of the film. And so putting those out there and sort of discussing what makes the film so good is something I'd like to do more of.
Oh, that's great. That's a very cool idea.
Yeah. So currently, I have a few projects in the works, and before college's online classes start again, I hope to get those out.
That's great. I'm already subscribed to the channel. I want to see your content.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, and another project I have is planning on building a watchOS app. The Apple Watch is actually one of my most favorite Apple products with how small it is and how capable it is. I'd like to develop something for it. I'm thinking maybe since the Apple Watch is so heavily focused around health, I'd like to make a simple app that helps people log their mental health or how they're feeling at that moment easily so that they can keep track of it and sort of see it in one place to know how they were. And maybe down the line, maybe give a sort of therapy for it or something that can help the person feel better or, motivate them to keep going.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that kind of stuff is perfect for the watch. Like having easy access to log your mental health.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So you're very occupied for the future. That you have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we round things up with your favorite new feature announced at WWDC?
I have quite a few actually. I'd say, I mean, Big Sur is it's not a feature, but if I'll tell my feature a little bit after this, but probably my favorite thing to come out of this is Big Sur. I'm happy to see that there's a redesign for the Mac. The last time we saw it was with Yosemite, and so seeing it this time with an updated interface is a great thing. But by far, my favorite feature should be widgets for iOS 14.
Yeah, they are so cool, right?
Yeah, the fact that I think they're a lot more polished and they work a little bit better than Android widgets as far as my experience goes. But yeah, what do you think of them?
Yeah, widgets are really cool. I am really enjoying them in the iOS 14 beta.
Hmm.
They are a big step up from like the previous widgets we used to have.
Yeah, being able to see sort of like how you glance at your watch for seeing the complications. This is sort of like that too. So instead of having to open the weather app to check the weather, it's right there on your home screen or with Smart Stack things cycling automatically. That's awesome.
Yeah, Yeah, and Smart Stack is very cool,
Mhm.
like from a user standpoint and from a technical standpoint.
Yeah, and what's awesome is these are just Apple's stock widgets. I can't wait to see what third-party developers are going to bring.
Oh, for sure, man. For sure. I want to have
Yeah,
like all the widgets.
yeah,
I think they're going to catch up, like a lot of apps will have this kind of widget.
yeah. A lot of them already have the basic sort of widgets that they had before, so
Mhm.
it'll be cool to see them update and refine.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. This is going to be a good year for iOS update.
Yeah, there's been a lot announced. What was your favorite new feature?
I will have to say like widget, but you already said that, so I'm going to say SwiftUI 2.0.
Uh-huh.
I have been playing with SwiftUI for like since it was announced. So yeah, seeing all the improvements in SwiftUI 2.0 was very cool. Like they added a lot of things that were missing,
Uh-huh.
and like I think that this year we can finally use SwiftUI for like very robust apps. And
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah,
Yeah, so I have to get around SwiftUI as well. So,
yeah, it's very cool, man. It's very cool. It's very flexible, easy to learn.
mhm.
Like it's not at the point of UI kit yet. Like there
Uh-huh.
are a lot of things missing, or like some things missing now. But yeah, I think that you can do a lot with it.
Yeah, but I guess the perfect jumping off point for using SwiftUI would be the fact that widgets can be built using it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so since widgets aren't, like highly capable, fully functioning apps, you might as well just build them with SwiftUI.
yeah, and like you have to use them with SwiftUI.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's like a great starting point.
Yep.
Okay, so this has been great. Like thank you very much for being here with me.
You're welcome. And thank you so much for the opportunity. This is my first time doing something like this.
Oh man, you're great at it.
Thank you. And you're a great host too.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, that's it for today. I hope that you have enjoyed it and that you learned something. Don't forget to follow the links in the description to play around with Fix My MacBook and for Parikshith YouTube channel, and give us a follow on your podcast player of choice so you get notified when we release a new episode. I'm your host Valentino Cerruti. You can find me on Twitter as @microrex. This has been Scholars in the Spotlight, and I will see you in the next episode.